Up next, we're going to have Aniko Kovacs, and she's in Vancouver. And now, do you work with Aniko as well, Hitomi?
Oh, we're great friends. And yes, we do work together. In fact, just a little tidbit here. She and I, and there's Anya Norwood as well, we are the actual AIFD Symposium Program Coordinator for 2022. So we've been working very closely together. And so, yeah, good friend and good colleague.
Okay, well then, how you doing?
Can you hear me? I'm good, thank you. Yeah, it's quite chilly in here too. Like, probably not as chilly as in Toronto, but the temperature is getting colder here in the West Coast too.
Time for Christmas.
Yeah, it's time for Christmas holidays. Yes,
Definitely.
So we're gonna watch something that you created that's Say I Do Canadian style. So we're gonna, would you like to go ahead and introduce your video here?
Sure. So I was working on like a smaller wedding session. So I'm gonna show you some different ideas for a bridal bouquet, bridesmaid bouquet, and a table centerpiece, which is a little bit of surprise there, but I'm gonna leave it up to the video to see that. So I think we're ready to roll with the video, and thank you for inviting me from HFNA for this wonderful wedding celebration.
What?
Hi everyone, my name is Aniko Kovacs and I am here in Vancouver in beautiful Kitsilano. Today is a gorgeous day. This is my store, Garland's Florist, and I would like to invite you to come inside. We've been here in the neighborhood for quite a few years now, actually over 20 years, and we have a good selection of flowers and plants and well-selected gifty items. Lots of orchids and lots of the current tropical plants, which is very appreciated by our customers. There's this lovely man, my partner in crime, I should say. Sorry, my partner in crime, Curly, and we've been together for way too many years, but we've been running also the store together. So it's a family business. Come all the way. This is my flower part, a flower section of the store, and I guess this is the time to head out to pick up my local flowers from the auction. So see you later. So we are going to the local market, to the flower auction, United Flower Growers, out to Burnaby to pick up the flowers, which I bought this morning. So we go to the auction like twice a week at least, which is usually the beginning of the week, Monday or Tuesday, and we get a truckload of flowers, locally grown, beautiful. I think it's important to tell the story where the flower's coming from, and you know, to meet the growers and especially nowadays the locals like to support all the locally grown products. So the auction makes this possible. It used to be a really fun place to meet the growers and the other colleagues. We actually had like coffees before the auction, and we chatted about how the industry is doing. Nowadays, it's a little bit more difficult to connect with the others. I mean, you can always do it online, but I'm actually missing those times where I sat with all the other florists and growers, and we were discussing things about the floral industry.
Part of the auction.
What? Good question. I think a couple, the number is actually declined over the past few years because of the pandemic, but there is still a few hundred.
Wow.
Yeah, at least, yeah. And also the buyers too, like there's lots of buyers, like a couple hundreds. I don't know if actually you could have buyers from the States at the moment, but probably they can. They can buy online and then they can ship it over.
And what's the process like buying online?
So buying online, you wake up in the morning, you can wake up like between, you know, anytime before the auction. The auction starts at 6 o'clock. Usually I start at 5:15, 5:20. And then you can look through the prices and the products which are available at today's auction in the morning. And then you log in, and it's a virtual buying. So you just buy it. You just buy it online. You bid online, and you get your products. And then once the auction ends, you go and pick up the selection, which we are doing right now. And they arrived. Oh, I just need to get my keys. Let's get the flowers. Oh, this is our favorite lady. Hello. How are you? Not bad. All right, let's go. This is today's. This is the best part. Maybe I should park a little bit closer. Yes, this keeps you definitely in shape. Okay. So this morning I picked up some really beautiful dahlias and crispedias, rudbeckias, beautiful locally grown hydrangeas, calla lilies. And of course the pumpkin season started, so I couldn't resist all these beautiful gourds and pumpkins. A few plants. Usually on Monday there is not a lot of plants, so there would be a little bit more on Tuesday and Thursday. So if I come to the auction on Mondays, then I'll get more of the flowers, and then later on we'll get the plants. Okay, so this is today's auction. So let's get loaded up to the van and head back to the shop. Just got back to the store and we got our shipment from Hawaii with the beautiful flowers from HFNA. And I'm just opening the box. It's very excited. Can't wait to see what's inside. So the first layer is off. Wow, look at the Alcidiums. So look at these beautiful Oncidium and Dendrobium. So we're just gonna separate all the products and get rid of the packaging. Oh, Alocasia. Whoa, this is gorgeous. Oh. Look at the length. Holy smokes, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Look at all these beautiful, gorgeous varieties. Oh, and some white ones there too. Oh, wow.
I'm coming up
Okay, so now that we are processed all our beautiful Hawaiian flowers and foliages, we're gonna start on our wedding order, which is a micro wedding order this time. With the pandemic, we are receiving a lot of small orders and very last minute orders in the store. And it's typically like a bridal bouquet, a bridesmaids or two, a flower girl, a couple of boutonnieres, and perhaps a centerpiece. So I would like to start with the bridal bouquet. And what you see here is basically a base, an armature base for the bouquet. Since I received this order as a last-minute order just a couple of days ago, and I managed to order the tropical flowers from Hawaii, which only takes usually up to 24 hours to get here to your door delivered. I wanted to create something a little bit more interesting for the base of the bouquet, but also I'm aware that I'm a store and I have to create something affordable and something that doesn't take too much time. So this is a chicken wire pillow, which is tied together with binding wire, just pieces of the binding wire. And then I inserted the cruspedia to give a little bit of flow and also to get my line. So in my order, I was requesting for some green heliconias, and I received these beautiful emerald forest heliconias. Look at the size and the shape of it, and I'm using that as my main focal point in the bouquet. And basically, I just insert it into the chicken wire pillow, and now I'm going to secure it with some binding wire. So as you may notice, the heliconia doesn't have any water source. It's a very durable tropical flower, so it doesn't need to go in the water, and it could stay like that for a couple of days. Okay, so the color for this wedding is mainly white with the accent of yellow and green. So I'm going to start to design the bridal bouquet, and I have these gorgeous local dahlias and zinnias, which I'm starting with. And that's going to be the base for covering my chicken wire pillow. And what is great about the pillow, that once you put your first flower into the pillow, what is great about the pillow, as soon as you put your first couple of flowers into the structure, you already have your handle. And you can hold your bouquet and you can balance it out. Zinnias are next. So there's my first layer of flowers, which covers like 75% of my pillow already. Okay, so I'm inserting some locally grown garden roses now. These are from Vancouver Island, but you can also get them all year round. It's called Kensington Gold, and they complement the colors of the cruspedia and the heliconium and the zinnia nicely. So these are going right in the center as the second layer. And now it's the exciting part, the yellow oncidiums. These are so beautiful. If you look at them a little bit more closely, they don't have the red dots. It's pure yellow, which is perfectly works together with my color combination. And the pillow always helps to position them to the right angle, what your design requires. look at these gorgeous anthuriums. They called Mauna Loa anthurium, and this is a medium size. So I will use that as my next flower into the bouquet. Sometimes you can use these as an underlay for your bouquet too, and they become more like almost like a leaf, like a foliage. They are beautiful at the back also. They have colors too, so they could act as a leaf. To balancing out my bouquet, I'm gonna add some more anthuriums on the other side. These are the beautiful Midori anthuriums, and you believe it or not, this is a medium size. Sometimes you need to turn your bouquet just to see how it looks. Good. A few more white callas. And now it's a very exciting part, is my favorite part, the greenery. So I'm adding a few alocasia leaves right on the front. And if you notice, I actually folded back the tip of the leaves because it was a little bit too pointy. So I just used a dash of the U-glue and I just taped it down. So it's not so pointy once you put it on the front. So now we are just gonna add a couple other pieces to the other side of the bouquet. So I'm gonna turn my bouquet around so I see it better. I'm adding white dendrobiums. This is one of my favorite foliage, which we received with the shipment. It's a fern. It's called rabbit foot fern. Look at the size of it. It's so tall. So it's perfect if you have like a cascading bouquet or something like a larger installment to do. It gives also a beautiful flow to your bouquet, and it phrases up nicely on the bottom. Look at that. So I'm gonna just finish the bouquet with a few more flowers. One of them is the gooseneck. It's a local flower, Lysimachia, just to give a little bit more softness to it. So a few stems of that, and that's also just goes nicely with the flow. And also I'm adding these small white anthuriums, and they called Hokulua. And if you notice, I didn't take the cover off when I was processing them, and the reason for that, if you use them, and you know where they go in the bouquet, you can just insert them and then take off the cover. It keeps them humid, and also since it's a white anthurium, it could damage faster, like you can see any scratches or anything on it, but once it's covered, it's still protected. So when you put it into your bouquet, it's a perfect shape and color. So let me just finish this bouquet up and then see you then when it's done. So I'm just here my finished Tropical Nouveau bridal bouquet. And as you can see, is basically a mixture of tropical flowers and locally grown flowers and foliages. It's very lush, it's very light, even though there is quite a good amount of flowers inserted into the chicken wire pillow. It's a hand-tied, so it's easy for the bride to hold. And it has a nice cascading line with the oncidiums, with the pandanus, with these beautiful foliages. My favorite, the rabbit ferns. Rabbit foot fern. So now I'm going to demonstrate a small bridesmaid bouquet, which will go nicely with the bride bouquet I just made. This is a base with craspedia, with fresh craspedia. And what I did, I just started to circle them. So I just created these circles of individual stems, and then I wired them together. So it gives a nice base for the bouquet. I used 18 gauges of wire, and it's 3 stems, so that gives you a nice base. This bridesmaid bouquet will be a different shape from the bride's bouquet, so it's going to be more compact and smaller. So I'm starting with these gorgeous calatheas. They called green ice, and they're going to be in the center of the bouquet. They're very strong stems. Okay. Then I'm adding some of the local yellow roses. Then I have these beautiful ferns again, the curly ferns, which is perfect shape for this bouquet right now. It's all upright. So I'm gonna just put it right beside the calatheas. Bridesmaid bouquets are much smaller, of course, than the bride bouquet. However, I still like to have a nice selection of varieties in there. So I'm adding the white anthuriums again, like the mini ones. Just 2 stems to finish it up. And I decided to add a few dry flowers to this bouquet, to the bridesmaid bouquet. By the way, all the bouquets with the tropicals and the roses would dry pretty well. The roses, of course, roses and crasspedias, they would just dry out as they are. The anthuriums would take a couple of weeks to dry, but they still would look quite decent once it's dried out. I'm adding these little bunny tails to this bouquet just to make it a little bit fluffier and more fun for the bridesmaid. And also, dry flowers are really popular these days. So we're adding them to a lot of different designs. Look at these bunny tails, how they assemble the spadix of the anthurium, like the color and also the shape. It's a perfect match. So I will finish up with the same curly ferns. I'm going to cut this in half and then just tuck it on the bottom. So the bridesmaid bouquet has finished. So I'm just going to cut the stems and drop it up, tie it, and tie it with the ribbon. guess I should lift it up so that you can see it. This is also just a quick hand-tied bouquet. Once you have your base, what I just did, that circle with the Crispidia, it's really just like another easy hand-tied bouquet to make. Time-wise, it shouldn't take you too long. Now tape it off. I'm going to leave the stems open, so I'm just going to tie it with ribbon. It just gives a more natural look to the bouquet. Just cut it a little bit more. There you go. And then I'll just cover it with the ribbon to finish up the stems. I'm using the U-glue dashes at the end of the ribbon to put it on and secure it. You can also use pins or wire, but this is a very clean finish, and then you can just add your accessories after. So I can peel it off. Okay, so the bridesmaid bouquet is done, and I tied it with the ribbon, and it should stand since I have 3 very strong stems of Calathea green ice in the bouquet, and voila, it does. So I have 2 more smaller pieces to show you. One is a little flower girl bouquet, which also complements the bridal bouquet. She's only 10 years old, so I didn't make this too big. It's a small little bouquet with the yellow lemon oncidiums and the local white dahlias. So that goes beside the bridesmaid, just like that. And then, of course, we can't forget about the groom. There's the boutonniere, which also includes the flowers from the bridal bouquet. So there's calla lilies and again the yellow lemon oncidium. I guess I'm in love with that. And some pandanus leaves tied in the bottom. So there's something I wanted to show you since my bride was asking questions about some extra pieces. And also she wanted quite an elaborate cascading bouquet. So we were talking about some reception centerpieces, and we realized that there's not a lot of room to put flowers in the restaurant. But there is the sweetheart table where they're sitting. So I suggested, since the bouquet is quite a statement, we can use that as a centerpiece. So what we're gonna do is I'm putting the bouquet into a rectangular container, and I'm just gonna add a few of the extra foliages, what I have left, and make it as a nice centerpiece. So I'm adding more of the fern, the rabbit foot fern, just on the side, just to make it a little bit more elaborate. And now all you have to do, you just have to insert it, because it's the base is quite solid, and there's water in the container, so we're just adding it to. This could be done also on the side. And Dracaena leaves. Maybe just one more fern. So I just wanted to say a huge thank you for being with me today, and have the opportunity to demonstrate some designs with these beautiful products from Hawaii. Thank you so much for HFNA to sending all these gorgeous flowers and foliages on my way, and be able to please my brides with a combination of local and tropical flowers. If you have any questions, I will be available after the program to answer them. And thank you again for watching me. It's like, oh my God. This is in the parents. Oh my God. Purchases. Sorry. No, I'm like a so good, okay.
Okay, wow, that was great. Thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure.
That was fun. That was fun. I mean, no wonder florists, or no wonder the public say, oh, the florists are always having so much fun. I love to be a florist, right? Because there's the fun side of it.
Yeah, I know. We didn't giggle enough, I think.
Yeah.
Do you do a lot of mainly weddings, or what is your main business where you're at, Aniko?
So we basically have, my husband and I be running a flower store, as I mentioned in the video too, for the past 20 years. So it's a retail store, and beside retail, we really had a strong corporate and event side also before the pandemic. Now, of course, with COVID, it's a little bit less. Hello, are you here? Sorry,
yeah,
I got
yeah.
lost. Yeah, okay. Now it's a little bit less, but it's slowly, it's coming back. Like with the regulations, we have, you know, the small micro weddings, the last minute weddings. And now we are planning a little bit ahead for next year and the year after. So, so hopefully it will come back at the full scale how it used to be.
Yeah, you know, I just want to mention, just because I've been into Aniko's shop several times through all this filming and stuff, and she's got a real strong following with plants. Like, she's got a lot of people that comes in for plants in her shop. So that's a real true testament to how the popularity of plants is one of the biggest surge, especially through the COVID period, don't you think?
Yes, I agree. I mean, especially during the when the pandemic started, I always carried a lot of good locally grown plants. There was always the very good selection at the auction. But since pandemic, since everybody's at home, you know, they needed to get busier. So besides cooking, they also, you know, and baking, they also wanted the plants. So they became like a part of their family. And I have regular customers who come back like every week for another plant, or what's new, like what did you get this week? And they just buying the new plants to their collection.
Beautiful shop. Where are you located?
So we are in Vancouver and in the Kitsilano area, which is a very family-oriented area closer to the University of BC.
Can't wait to visit next year, maybe when we do Canada Blooms.
Please. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you have to come.
One question from the audience was, what size is your pillow structure that you did in the first creation you made?
Oh, for the bridal bouquet. So, I mean, with the pillow size, basically you could make your choice what size you need, depending on your order or the size of the bouquet. The one I used was, I think, more like a 4x8 or 4x6 pillow. Like I made it out of chicken wire, so it's a custom-made pillow. It's not one what you buy. But usually I leave at least like 4 inches for the width and 6 to 8 for the length. 6 to 8 inches for the length.
Perfect. Anything, Tommy? Do you have any advice on the pillow construction?
Oh, I think her sizing is just exactly about right. And I just loved how she actually showed her designing into it, and to show how when she started with the original pillow with heliconia and the Crispidia, and how she insert the stems that becomes the handle. That's really the key, is that the hand tie process is very possible and easier with the pillow, because the stem insertions is much firmer and everything stays in place, and the flowers really become more separated and not sort of cramped together. So you get more visual value from fewer stems of flowers. So I loved it that she was able to demonstrate that. That was fantastic, Aniko.
Thank you.
Maybe you could take a second. What is the plant? Or what is the auction? Is that different than where you get all your stuff? Is it done differently in Canada?
So the flower auction here in British Columbia or in Vancouver, well, it's in Burnaby. It's the second largest flower auction after the Aalsmeer auction. It's basically pretty much run around the same way as the Aalsmeer auction in Holland. So growers bring in their flowers, they put them on the cart, and then you as a customer, you sit there in the gallery and then you start bidding on the flowers. There is, here in Burnaby, there is 4 different clocks. There was two for cut flowers and 2 for plants when it used to be. Now, I think slowly it's coming back. Like you can go back after the COVID as a customer to the cooler, to walk through the cooler and look at the products again. But you cannot buy at the auction yet. So everything needs to be virtual right now, unfortunately.
Is that the same way you get yours, Hitomi?
Actually, because I'm not a regular buyer, because she is a retail florist that goes into the auction or buys from the auction regularly, I go to the wholesaler that is really right there, United Floral, that's right there next to the auction, actually in the same building. Oh. So that they, United actually buys through the auction as well as direct from the local growers as well as imports. So it's all in one facility where the wholesaler is. And so it's very convenient for us, here in BC. Yeah,
and that was before the COVID. That was the place to meet, right?
Yeah,
so that
exactly.
was not just when you were a regular customer, but when you were a freelancer, or just you just came in just to say even hello. But now it's just it's a little bit more difficult to
Actually,
see each
Aniko,
other besides zooming.
yeah, maybe just briefly, because we have a little bit of time. Maybe you can just briefly explain how the buying happens right now virtually, but then how does it all work?
Okay, sure. So basically how it works, the auction, United Flower Grower sends you a link, you download it, and then it's on your laptop, and you just log on to it every time, the auction is 3 times a week, Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday in the morning. It starts at 6 o'clock, 6 a.m. So you can log into it anytime, a couple hours before. You can go through the list, stroll through the list of growers and products which would be available on that day's auction. And then once the auction starts, on your screen, you see pretty much the clocks, what you would see when you're sitting at the gallery, and you just start bidding on the flowers. So they receive your order. So by the time the auction finishes, your flowers are all distributed together to your cart, and you go there, and then you go and pick it up.
Cool.
Sounds like a
yeah. I mean, the good part about it, I have to say, as much as I'm missing to see my colleagues and so, that you can still be in your pajamas at home with your coffee or tea and bidding on the flowers. You don't have to get out there.
It sounds like it would be a competitive event when it was live. You know, it sounds exciting to be in the auction.
I mean, it was. I mean, I actually miss that time very much, because you go into the cooler, you go amongst the rows, you touch everything, you feel everything, you see everything. Now everything is on pictures, and I mean, there's no live camera, so it's really more about knowing the growers, knowing their products, what they grow. But sometimes with sizes, even with quality, it's different, because when you want to buy your roses and how open you want to buy them. But once it just says open roses, it could be different stages. It could mean it's a different perspective the way you buy.
Yeah, and I was wondering, when you receive product, I know you showed us you were processing it in your shop in the video. I was wondering though, do you have any tricks, either of you, when somebody receives a product like that Greenpoint box that they got? I don't know, do you use maybe a Super Thrive or anything in the water, or what are the tricks for immediately processing so they last as long as possible? Aniko?
You know what?
Well, I mean, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I just want to make sure that I retain what Josh just said, because I don't know what Super Thrive is. What is that? I need to know from the grower.
Super Thrive.
No, I've never heard of it.
It's the interior plant guy's secret. Don't tell anybody.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. It's a great product. I thought maybe it's really good for rooting and whatnot. And it might be something to actually add to water to really help sustain plants. It makes amazing changes to. I don't work for Super Thrive by any means. I'm not, but from an interior plant's perspective, you add a little bit to the water every time, and it makes amazing results. And it's all totally natural. And I was wondering if you ever have any other tricks, maybe though, that when you do process.
Well, I mean, I never used Super Thrive. Usually when I order the Hawaiian flowers, they always come in like in a day or 24 hours ahead, and we just basically take them out of the box, we cut them, and I usually use a little bit lukewarm water. I never use the cold water because they tend to get hydrated more that way. I leave as I said in the video too, I leave the little covers on the anthuriums, and I just take them up as we use them. And they always, the greenery always fresh as it could be. And if I need to use it somewhere like on a bigger installation, sometimes I spray them and I cover them again, like with paper, just overnight so they stay fresh. I never put them in a cooler. I don't even have a cooler.
Actually, you know, as she says, and I guess I've always consulted the growers to see what was recommended by them, because we want that information, anything that's new that we should be aware of, any kind of new something additive, because we're told basically that, and I think from my experience too, that most of the flowers that we process that come from Hawaii do not require the preservatives that we normally put in our water for our temperate flowers. And I have never had any problem with longevity with tropical flowers, just without any kind of treatment at all. But this Super Thrive, I'm kind of my ears are a little bit perked up because I was not aware of that. And if that's coming from interior scape treatment, and it really helps prolong the plants, I mean, it's something that we need to know. We need to test it out.
Yeah.
Really curious.
Yeah, maybe I shouldn't have brought up that so much, but no, but because when we do ship plants, you know, the first thing you need to do is we pull all the fertilizers out of them on this side because they'll tend to burn, especially with Dracaena and whatnot, when we put them in the 40-foot containers and ship them to Canada or to wherever they're going to end up. And then they immediately need water. You know, it's like one of those things that sometimes gets overlooked, and people leave fertilizers in, and that's just too hot for the plant. It'll just cook a lot of times with so maybe since the plant trend is getting so hot, something to look for. And a Super Thrive is a great product to use. You use a little bit in a bucket every time you water your plants, and you'll see amazing results from it. It's one of those simple little tricks that from a plant guy. So another question that came in about was, would you take the cover off the white anthurium the day of the wedding, Aniko?
Yes, I would. I mean, I would take it off before I would hand it out to your, to your delivery person or whoever would come to pick up the bouquet, or if I deliver it, like I would just take it off there. Yes.
Absolutely. I got that tip from Lois Hiranaga, because here I was when I was helping Lois with a wedding, and I was taking all those sleeves off and just putting it in a bucket. And she says, no, you have to do this. And it made total sense. I mean, again, we're always seeking for advice from our fellow florists and from the growers, because you guys have the information. The people that handle it the most, regularly, the Hawaiians have the best information on tropical. So I'm always just got my ears open for any good advice that we can pass on to all the new people that's coming into using these products.
Well, we'll do our best to convey that to you. You know, we got to keep some things secret. No, but I thought one thing that was really interesting was how between Bruno and Aniko, how your two styles translated through, and what a great illustration they were of what Hitomi was talking about at our first segment yesterday, which is the difference between Tropical Nouveau and Neotropica. Aniko, do you tend to dive back and forth between the two different styles depending on what's asked for, or do you find that yours is one or the other? I thought they were great illustrations of how your personalities translated through your work.
Yeah, I mean, I love using local flowers with the tropical flowers. So I think I tend to do more that, and especially like when, like the season, in the summer season in Vancouver, BC has a lot of local flowers. Like we have a lot of local growers in the Fraser Valley, and like the Dale, and also on the island, Vancouver Island. So the dahlias and lots of the garden flowers, the fine tones like the gooseneck, the veronicas, oh my God, I forgot the green ones. I just used it in a bouquet. Anyway, so there's a lots of wildflowers which you can incorporate with the tropical flowers, and they work so well. The colors work so well. I mean, the color combination I did was the white, yellow, and the green mainly, but also like the stronger colors, like the hot greens, like the oranges. When you combine those together with the local roses or the local dahlias again, like especially in the fall or in the springtime with the peonies, I mean, they just look beautiful. So yes, I love using the combinations together.
And my observance with those of you
also,
that
my customers or the brides, they looking forward to it because even I don't just use them in the wedding design, like I use them in the everyday design too. So, you know, like for birthday, especially in the past few years, for celebratory events like birthdays or anniversaries, I link together the orchids with the roses and the other peonies, the local flowers.
So I just wanted to say that that's what gives you, Aniko, and Garland's Florist a little bit edgier look because you have that insertion of something a little different that into that mix. I think that really, really helps really give you a little bit of an edge and an intrigue to all your customers.
Yes.
And I learned something new that, you know, with a handheld arrangement, that it should stand up at the end. And what I noticed the whole time, and this is just me being novice, is you're constantly spinning the arrangement. Is that how you find the balance to it? And is that just a technique that is always used and to build those hand arrangements? That's so beautiful.
I think it's definitely a technique what you need to use as a florist because you know, once you do a hand-tied bouquet, once you work something in your hand, you need to balance it out. So like spinning it around, turning it around, then you always see where the next stem should go, how the colors should coordinate, how the angle of the stem should go in. So yes, definitely turning it around. Perhaps there I would mention, like if you do an arrangement, I usually use a lazy Susan, you know, so you can just spin it around easily also, and then see where your next flower insertion go.
Yeah, that's a perfect explanation. And in fact, especially with a hand-tied bouquet, I think it's really reflective of some of our European training with the spiraling method that we tend to keep turning it around to get the next stem insertion, that even though you're using the chicken wire pillow, but you're still kind of keeping it spiral so that the final tight binding is really, really solid.
Yes.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So just from a guest standpoint, we're out here, we do a lot of hospitality and a lot of weddings, and we were with the pandemic doing what it's doing, hopefully we come to a point where it's in our rearview mirror. What's your forecast, Aniko, for the future? What are you and your local florists doing up there are you looking for the future?
You mean in events or like generally, like what is there?
I would say events. You know, do you think there'll be a landslide? I'm saying from a grower's perspective, because what happens with us is all of a sudden demand goes through the roof at 1 second, just like everything else in life, right? And we need to prepare what we're going to be growing for when we need those things available. So I know you don't have a crystal ball, but what kind of vibe are you getting in terms of the future from orders and brides and whatnot?
Well, I think first of all, you definitely need to be well prepared, and you need to order your products ahead, because that's exactly what's happening here too. Like the demand suddenly just went up, and certain varieties are not available anymore. And it's not only that, but it's also other challenges. Like, I'm sure you heard about it, but right now BC also is in a state of emergency because of all the rain and the flooding. So that cut out a lot of the supply routes for us to be able to get our products in the next couple of weeks.
So you always need to have a backup plan but as far as like the future goes, I definitely, I'm paying more attention to my orders, like pre-ordering things, talking to the growers more personally, like on the phone or even Zooming them, seeing what their products are. Now we are able to go and visit them a little bit more too. So it's working together with your community, with your wholesalers, with your growers, and seeing their products and knowing what's available when.
Same for you, Hitomi.
Well, I really feel that is exactly right. It's really time for community building, working together, knowing and having conversations about these short supplies and how we're going to all solve it together, because it affects each and every one of us from one end to the other. And, you know, as we saw with yesterday's breeders and growers and how long it takes for things to come from the very beginning, hybridizing process, all of that, we have to know what that is so we don't make crazy demands, you know, as designers to the grower, like I need this right now. Like we are now understanding much better how this whole system works, whole industry works. And I think we can help each other by covering for each other when different situations come up that causes different shortages and things. And I think this is good. This is all part of what we're meant to do so that for the wellness of our industry.
I completely agree. This is great. And just a forum like this gives us an opportunity, like we said at the beginning, to synergistically do this across the board from grower to final end user. So that's it for the Q&A on this side. Aniko, I hope you're okay in British Columbia. I know, like you said, there's been a lot of challenges with all the rain, and I hope everybody is safe.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, we are safe here in Vancouver, but there's a lot of devastating areas out in the valley, and they have a harder time.
Where a lot of the growers are, right? That's where all the growers are. Yeah. We're really concerned for them because we've seen pictures of the areas so flooded out. I mean, you know, they're covered in water over there, and that's where all the growing is going on.
Yeah.
That's going to be a real challenge, and we really put our hearts out to everybody up there, and want to thank you so much for coming out again on a Saturday in all of this to talk with us.
Thank you so much for having me. Like, it's been a real pleasure, and thank you so much for HFNA for inviting me. And I had, as you could tell, I hope lots of fun designing with the flowers. It was a great experience. Thank you, and thank you so much for Hitomi and you also for helping me out.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you very much. That was beautiful. Great style.